Welcome back, folks. We are continuing the Disney tier list of animated movies. Now, there are a few decisions that I did want to make beforehand. I do think I was a little bit too generous with The Sword and the Stone, so I'm gonna put that down on B tier. Once again, B tier doesn't mean that I don't like it. Putting it down on a lower tier never means that I don't like a movie. I'm just not convinced that it deserved an A tier. I mean, this is a biased tier list, but I don't want to be too biased. I want to evenly weigh out what I liked and didn't like about the movies and make my analysis from there. So continuing the list, what is next? Well, we got the Aristocats. A lot of people say that The Lion King was like Disney's first original animated movie. No, this was it. This one doesn't get as much attention as all the other Disney animated films do, and well, rewatching it as an adult, I can kind of see why. The thing that I think is missing most from this movie is a really good villain, and by good, I mean bad. Like, evil villain. The butler, not that he wasn't bad in a way, I don't know, I felt bad for him. So like, what this old lady has cooked up in her will is just that like her cats technically get the money and he gets paid to take care of the cats even after she's gone, but he's getting paid by the cats. I wouldn't have written the will that way. I would have written it so that he's getting the money on the condition that he continues to take care of the cats. That would have made much more sense, but instead he's like, man, I gotta take care of these cats until they die, and I'm still gonna get paid my minimum wage till then. That's no good. I don't know how much he's getting paid. I'm just saying. And he wasn't gonna kill the cats either. He just wanted them to be lost somewhere. He just wanted them out of the house so that the lady thinks that they're dead, so that she gives the money to him directly. Also, like, the scenes with him doing the dastardly deeds tend to be extremely goofy. Like, it seems like even the movie doesn't want you to take him super seriously as a villain. And those aren't the type of villains that I really like. I really like the villains that are scary and evil, and you know, I just kind of feel bad for the guy. And if we are being honest, the movie doesn't have that much going for it. Unfortunately, it's gonna get the C tier. Next, we have Robin Hood. Now, I have kind of mixed feelings about this movie. When I was a kid, I was super into it, right? And I know that this movie is like the holy Bible for furries. There's a lot that they do right in this movie, but it is fairly short. And the plot is extremely simplified. Whereas there was an older Robin Hood movie that was in live action from Disney that I think captured the story of Robin Hood better. So once again, like the whole Peter Pan thing, this is one of those movies where I feel like I can watch a better version of it somewhere else. Not that I think it's bad per se, I'm just, furries are gonna be mad at me. Winnie the Pooh. It's not the first Disney movie to ever use that technique of having the characters exist in a book and be animated and, you know, talk to the narrator, and I guess they interact with the book a lot more than they have in movies like So Dear to My Heart. And they do it in unique and very charming ways, but I gotta be honest with you guys. This movie's boring. They don't go on very interesting adventures. Like, the type of adventures in this book include Pooh getting stuck in a hole and Tigger bouncing too much. Oh my god, is Eeyore smiling in this cover? What's with this? Yeah, sorry to say, but I do think this movie is pretty C tier. I also hate people who like wanna pretend like Winnie the Pooh is so deep. Oh, it's about mental illness. Shut up. Write a better book. The Rescuers. This is an interesting one, because this is one of those Disney movies that doesn't quite feel like a Disney movie. It feels more like a Don Bluth movie. Not that the villain was bad. She was a fine villain. She just doesn't really stand out per se. But I mean, I love what they did with the main characters, and I think that this is probably one of the best examples of a straight man in a cartoon or in any writing, I guess. So I think I am going to put this in the B tier section. And just to answer your question now, while I have the time, no, I have not seen the sequel. I hear that it's good, but we're not going to be covering sequels in this tier list. So perhaps next time I'll do a tier list for Disney sequels and we'll figure that out. Oh, The Fox and the Hound. Do I even need to think about this? Now, this was a good one, especially for this time. I've been getting a lot of C tier ones, but Fox and the Hound, that shit is A tier. I'm not just saying that because it has a cute fox and dog in it. Yes, I am. Black Cauldron. Oh man, this is a weird one, isn't it? Because, like, Disney, the company, didn't even like this movie. This is a complicated one because, I mean, I do own it. I have kind of mixed feelings about it because I like the villains in this movie a lot and really nothing else. I mean, okay, so you got this Gurgi character over here, and he's basically the Smeagol of the movie. He sucks, he just sucks. And of course they just had to make him the hero at the end. Just a fucking weird decision. I don't know, I feel like the pacing of the movie is strange, and you don't get a lot of, or enough of, attention on these two characters who are supposed to be the main characters' possible love interest. I don't know. It's a strange movie for a Disney movie, and yeah, it's gotta be C tier. Definitely didn't affect me in any profound way like other Disney movies have. Now we have The Great Mouse Detective. This is basically like the Disney version of Sherlock Holmes, but instead of actually having the main character be Sherlock Holmes, he's like the mouse who lives under Sherlock Holmes' house, which is kind of a funny spin on it. But I kind of wonder if this movie would have done better if they just straight up had him be Sherlock Holmes and we just don't question the fact that he's a mouse now. I will say, it's a pretty solid movie. I like Basil. I like what they did with his eccentric brilliance of a character. They had so much build-up for him, like, not liking the little girl, and I was expecting there to be more of a payoff where, like, you know, he still can't remember her name by the end of the movie. But I will say, I don't think that this movie is bad enough to be forgettable. So I would actually call it underrated. Probably right here in the B tier with everything else, but certainly not C tier or anything lower. Like I said, it deserves to be remembered, and if you haven't seen it, you should probably go do that. Oliver and Company. Oh boy, what was this movie? It's another one of those movies that I liked a lot more as a kid, and as I grew up, I was like, what the fuck is this? What is that movie? This movie goes all over the place. I'm not even quite convinced that they had a outline when they were putting this together, because it just like, barely a plot, right? I guess I just liked it because there was a cute cat, and you know, the cat was certainly cute, pretty forgettable, and for good reason. This is for sure a C tier movie. Now we're gonna get to the big boys here. The Disney Renaissance, baby. Little Mermaid, that's an S tier. Don't even, why even think about it? And then we got Beauty and the Beast. S tier, A tier, S tier, A tier. I like it, but I don't know if it's as good. I mean, people always are complaining about the whole Stockholm Syndrome thing, and it's like, man, Aladdin, oh man. For sure, that's some S tier stuff. Killer performance by Robin Williams. Rest in peace, man. Lion King. Let me be honest with you guys. I do feel like this movie was a singe overrated. I thought it was a good movie. I did. I don't know if it was good enough to deserve, you know, highest grossing Disney film at the time. I don't think that Frozen deserved that either, really. Both did super well because of their soundtrack and not actually because of the content per se. And I'll go ahead and say it, Lion King, I don't think ripped off fucking Kimba. And I don't like that crowd of people either who say, oh, but Lion King was supposed to be a first original movie, but they ripped off Kimba. Disney has no original movies, even though I fucking just went over the Aristocats not too long ago. A lot of people who say Lion King ripped off Kimba never fucking watched Kimba. They're a bunch of faker-dakers. A Goofy movie, you know, honestly, I wasn't quite sure if I should even include this on the list because it's, you know, it's based more so off of the Disney Channel series, but it's not a TV movie per se, so I was kind of like, and in the end I think that I will include it because it's just that good. Cult classic for good reason. That's an A-tier movie. And we got Pocahontas, another really good movie with that classic two people from two different cultures having a thing. People always show this movie on Thanksgiving, right? But it has nothing to do with Thanksgiving. It's just a movie about settlers coming to America. And it's not even really telling the correct story about Pocahontas per se. She's supposed to go back with her boyfriend or whatever and die, but you know, we're not gonna talk about that. Still a great movie though. I say A tier, and what I say goes. Now we got Hunchback of Notre Dame, another one of those movies that I had different feelings as a kid versus as an adult. This one, I didn't want to watch it as a kid because I thought the main character looked weird. Very ironic, I know! I've since learned since then. And once again, it's another one of those movies that have those really great villains, right? Where they're like evil and cool. That's an S tier right there. More hellfire. Teach those kids the true religion of Christianity. Hercules! Oh man, this is a good movie. It's a little bit weird because they have gospel music. I kind of wonder what was the thinking behind that decision? Was it just because like they were thinking of gods, like, oh, gods, religion, gospel music, it all connects. And I guess there's not a lot of good Greek music to choose from. Man, what a great movie. I'm so sick of hearing, oh, these Disney princesses, they always ask for the man to save them. It's not true. It's not true. Mayura in this movie dives under a pillar to save her boyfriend. Oh, but only men do that in Disney movies. Not true. Which actually brings us to Mulan. Which, as a woman, I mean, I have to put this at S tier. But this is actually like a really good female empowerment movie. Like, there's a lot of shitty feminism movies out these days, and this one actually got that idea of feminism right by showing a way that, you know, a woman can be quote-unquote as strong as a man, and it doesn't necessarily have to do with strength. Mulan is a strategist, and she's very useful in that sense, even though she's not as strong, literally as strong as a man. And I like how they show that and teach that to kids, that everyone has their own independent strengths, and, you know, we have to find those strengths along with those weaknesses and whatnot. We just have one more movie to cover in the 90s, and that is Tarzan. Holy fuck, this movie. This was the shit right here. They got Phil Collins to do the soundtrack. Hell yeah. Son of man, look to the sky. To the sky. I also really love Jane as the love interest in this movie. So good. That's some S tier shit right here. And look at that. Look at how long our S tier list has gotten. Here some of you were thinking I was being harsh on some Disney movies, but most of them are in the S tier, and most of them are the Disney Renaissance movies, which I guess does have to do with a little bit of bias from what generation I grew up in. I'm sure that kids that are younger will have more newer movies that they would put in their S tier list, well, as most of mine are the 90s. But yeah, that's the list so far. Once again, I may change my mind on some of these as I think on it further, but looking at it now, it feels like it all makes a good bit of sense. Then we get into the 2000s, and the 2000s, whoa, that's complicated. I don't even know what I should be including in the 2000s. Should I include Pixar films? Because it doesn't feel like I should. Anyway, folks, that's all I have for you for today. How do you feel about our current state of the Disney animated movie tier list? Are there any things that you think I should move around? Are there any things that you would personally move around? What is your personal tier list up to this point, or just in the 90s? Any thoughts you have, leave them down below in the comments section. Thanks for watching, and let's continue this in the next episode. Till then, I'll see you next time. Bye!
Program restart. Shutting down all systems.